I'm Sarah Jensen, editor of OEM Off Highway, and today I'll be speaking with Ricardo Viaggi, Secretary General of CECE, about some of the market trends the organization is seeing in the off-road equipment sector. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So maybe if we could just kind of start with maybe some of the general trends you guys are seeing, or maybe discussing the EU recovery plan that's been proposed, or has it actually been put into place now, and what role that will play in helping the off-road equipment sector in Europe?
Yeah. So the EU recovery plan is the latest measure that has been put in place by the EU to respond to the COVID crisis. It is a general deal that has been made by the heads of state of the members of the European Union, the 27. So it is not yet operational, but the political agreement has been made about a fund up to 750 billion euros additional to the EU budget that is expected to boost investment and allow for a speedy recovery of the EU economy. The downturn is severe in most of the major industrial countries in the European Union. The heads of state and the European Commission agree that something must be put in place, and we expect the EU recovery plan to finance needed investments in the twin transitions, we call them, politicians and also industry call them, the digital transition and the environmental transition. And we believe that in both these transitions, the construction industry has a role to play, and by consequence, by direct consequence, the equipment that our members manufacture, they will be central to both transitions and will be able to profit from the resources that are put on the table on this recovery, the recovery plan and the related recovery fund, so the 750 billion euros. Which also historically, I think it's important to remember, it's the first time that the European Union as a whole will create financial debt, will create financial resources in order to again boost the environment. There is another reason why we think construction will be positively impacted by the recovery fund and the recovery plan, is that it is one of the worst hit economic industries by COVID. We are hearing from the European Contractors Federation that there is a loss in turnover over 20% projected at the end of 2020. So this fund should also target those specific industries which have been hardest hit, and construction is one of them. These are the two reasons why we believe that a large portion of the 750 billion euros will go to construction and indirectly to the off-road equipment for construction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So would you be able to maybe go into a little bit more of some of the biggest challenges the industry has faced due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and kind of how or might the industry work to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so I would say from a manufacturing point of view, the strongest challenge, the real burden has been the factory shutdowns and the impact this had on the whole supply chain, because the factory shutdowns started already in January and early February in China, with suppliers of key components not being able to deliver to European manufacturers anymore. And then it's factory shutdowns in Italy, Germany, France, the UK, all the other industrial manufacturing hubs have come to a complete halt for close to 2 months. So that was for sure the strongest impact of the biggest challenge that has eaten up a substantial amount of production. there are estimates between 9 and 10% of the general production has been completely lost because the factories were closed for those 2 months. So that's definitely the worst hit. And then the biggest challenge from now already, but we will see what the recovery brings, is of course what the demand for construction equipment will be. Coming to the first big challenge of as manufacturers of having our factories shut down was of course the contemporary need to comply with specific regulation of the European Union, which is the Stage 5 regulation. This regulation had the transition deadlines which were in place and which were about to expire right in the middle of the COVID crisis on the 30th of June. And this added an additional challenge because the regulation was creating an unintended consequence by these transition deadlines, which made the regulation impossible to comply with. And this is why one of the most important elements to overcome the crisis was to get those deadlines extended. And this is luckily after a long, steady work to convince legislators. We got our advocacy through. We obtained a 12-month extension on those transition deadlines, both for the manufacturing of the machines and for the placing of the market of the machines, so for the selling of those machines. Those deadlines for 30th of June and 31st of December are now placed to next year. And that is going to give a lot of leeway, a lot of breathing space to our manufacturers to be able to use those transition engines, which they had already bought. So it's not even about watering down the environmental ambitions of the EU. It's not about putting any more transition engines on the market because those have been already supplied and stocked by the OEMs. So this is what let's say an important element of overcoming one of those big challenges, and that has also been possible thanks to the whole industry coming together, really working together, not just construction, not just CECE, but we worked with our sister associations, we like to call them, from the agriculture and the farming machinery, the gardening machinery, the logistics, materials handling machinery, the gensets, and the municipal equipment. So this industrial task force worked together, and this is, in my opinion, certainly a positive sign amid this crisis. In this crisis, a positive sign of how things can turn out if you work together.
So we know there's been many challenges brought about by the pandemic. Has it also maybe helped bring to light any potential opportunities for change or improvement within the industry that you guys have been seeing, or is it kind of too soon to tell with that?
Well, certain things are too soon to tell, but if I can be a bit episodical maybe and be a bit personal, in my professional network, I think we all realized how easy it is to actually do smart working, remote working, teleworking, smart working, call it as you want. But certainly in Brussels, in industry associations, and I think that up to a certain point also in our member companies, there was this idea that if you were not in the office, you were not actually working. And I think that, and I'm speaking personally here, having had to work remotely from home for the last 3 to 4 months, has taught me, and I think some of my colleagues too, that indeed smart working is possible. We are as operational, as effective as before. So I think that is one small but interesting learning or light at the end of the time, which I see from the pandemic.
Okay, great. All right. Well, kind of moving into some other industry trends that you guys might be seeing. How, if at all, do you possibly see alternative fuels playing a role in the heavy equipment industry in the coming years, or impacts of electrification and other alternative energy or power sources? Do you see those continuing to grow?
Yeah, we see all of those continuing to grow. There is a normal general market pressure. We are delivering that innovation. We have been delivering innovations that curb costs, fuel costs. We are very committed to delivering those products, those advancements, those innovations to our clients. So these market pressures have been in play, at play already for a while. They continue to play a role. Here, from a European point of view, what we start considering and will keep considering for a while is the regulatory push in all this. So as I said, this is nothing new. This is something that we have already been doing for a while in response to our clients. Now, the regulatory push is building on that. Is sometimes creating unnecessary push. Is sometimes taking opinionated decisions which are not technologically neutral, which are not sometimes not even technical, sometimes not really sustainable from an economic point of view. And that for us is the key to it all. Sustainability has three legs. It's environment, it's society, and it's economy. And so if those solutions do not meet the economic feasibility, the economic productivity needs of a construction contractors on an infrastructure project, well, they probably will have a short lifespan. They will only work with public support, with public money, public spending. We would like to try and go and keep going the route of innovation, customer needs, customer pressure, and partnership between a customer and its supplier. And this is for us the philosophy behind what we call the four pillars approach. So there are four pillars to CO2 reduction, because that's the big the elephant in the room, and that's what the European Union wants to curb with its own Green Deal and the climate law that the European Commission is planning to put on the table. We believe that there is not one single element in CO2 reduction, that all the alternative energy carriers have a role to play as a transition or as a final step. We believe that electrification is not the whole solution to the whole industry. And we believe that there must be, legislators must understand that we are not at all like the on-road sector. We are not vehicles. We do not manufacture vehicles to transport people or goods from A to B. We are production machines that are used by another company in a B2B transaction in order to create productivity and profits. So this is why our four pillars approach is key, because the machinery efficiency, the machine efficiency is only one of the four pillars. Then you have to add on process, you have to add on operation, and you have to add on alternative energies and alternative energy sources. This is our approach to sustainability, to alternative fuels, and to the general, very understandable struggle to curb emissions. So that's our point of view on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you mentioned that there's a plan for EU emissions regulations. Are there those or other related regulations you guys are kind of keeping an eye on and feel might have an impact on the heavy equipment industry?
We always keep an eye on all regulation that might have an impact on our equipment. What we usually keep an eye on is how the regulators decide to create provisions for the heavy duty vehicles, because again, we are not like vehicles, everybody knows that, but the legislators, as I said before, sometimes take the assumption that whatever works for big trucks work for excavators, and that's of course not the right approach. So we kept an eye on what the Commission, the European Union, has created as CO2 regulation. And we will be watching the EU Green Deal and the climate law. We know for the moment we are not in the legislators' targets, but we know that we have our role to play. If it's not as a European Union regulation, there are other pressures. Cities in certain countries in Europe are pushing for zero emission machines, are pushing for all electric solution, which are not the solution for the whole industry. So we are keeping an eye on everything which is not even only legislative, but is also really market pressure or local regulation. There are certain cities in Europe which are leading the way in that, and we keep an eye on everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now we know the industries are kind of heading towards more digitization and smarter systems. What kind of challenges or opportunities may lay ahead for the continued adoption of data, IoT, and connectivity in the industry?
Well, we know for a fact that the challenge, the barrier is not the technology. The technology is there. So the debate within CECE and within our major members is not about what technological solution. We know that the challenge, the barrier is in the uptake. Our clients, both in the rental space and in the contractor space, do not always understand the profitability, do not always have the means and the abilities, also from a human resources point of view, to monetize the data, to understand the profitability story and the profit gains that they can make with data, with IoT, with connectivity, with even basic telematics in certain cases. So for us, that's what we need to unblock. And one way to unblock that is to create trust in the system. And trust in the system, in our opinion, can be helped by creating digital environments which function according to certain policies, to certain models, which we can summarize in a word, digital platform. So we are committed, and we are in a European project with some funding from the European Union to create a digital industrial platform for the construction industry. And that is the whole construction space. It's not just machines and contractors. It's really from the planners, even from the public buyers. Everybody in the value chain should be involved in creating a platform that creates that trust that will allow that uptake by even though the smaller and medium contractors that are very active in this business in Europe and make up to 90% of the business in the construction space in Europe. So that's what we do, and that's what we do with what we call what is called the DigiPlace project, which has started in September 2019 and will continue until spring 2021, which is a general action to create consensus around the need for a digital industrial platform, which is not going to be one single platform replacing everything else, every proprietary platform which is out there. That's not the goal. The goal is to create some common understanding, minimum common denominator that will allow the other platforms, proprietary, open, governmental, to be able to plug in, create those APIs and those business models that will unblock this digital transformation of the construction industry, which, as we know, is still very, very far from happening. It's starting, but there is a very famous study by McKinsey, which states that in the European economy, in the European economic sector, construction is the least digitized industry. And we want that to change. And we, again, since technology is not the problem, we as construction machinery manufacturers stand ready to take that transformation in our hands with our clients, with our suppliers, and and change that story of construction being the least digitized industry in Europe.
Okay. Okay. Well, just then the kind of last question I had for you is sort of what are some biggest challenges and opportunities you guys maybe see for the industry in the next year or two?
Yeah, well, the largest challenge is a challenge which is not always widely mentioned, and it's a challenge related to people, to the workforce, and we as construction equipment manufacturers actually experiencing that twofold, because we are already experiencing as manufacturing industries a lack of people in our factories. There is not a lot of appetite for youngsters to work on factory floors, but I think we're still coping. A lot of manufacturing jobs are well paid. They more and more being supported by automation. They are more and more, I would like to use the word cool. Which is not yet the case with a lot of construction related jobs, and also the operation of our machines. There are statistics in the European Union that half of the people working in construction are nearing retirement. There are certain countries in which business owners, small business owners in construction, over half of them are 60 years old or older. So they are very, very close to retirement. And there's not necessarily a second generation taking those jobs or those businesses up. So there is a lack of people, and I think that this demographic change is here to stay. There is no going back to fairly old populations in European countries, and so that's the challenge which I see. It may not be the challenge for the next 1 or 2 years, but it's a generational challenge which I believe is not looked at, and certainly not tackled widely enough. As always, I like to think that to every challenge there is an opportunity. I think that some of the things we've discussed in this interview, such as data, digitization, automation, that response one opportunity in that sense, because a lot of the tasks in construction are being automated. A lot of repetitive tasks, dangerous tasks, physically challenging tasks are being automated, or at least supported by machines. Robots, cobots are some of the buzzwords we hear in construction on the construction sites. This will is allowing the industry to change a little bit its image from a dusty, dangerous, kind of macho industry to something a bit different, to something a bit progressive, if you allow me the word. Certainly less dangerous, certainly less dirty, and that, in my opinion, unlock a whole new possibility when it comes to the image of the industry towards young people and even female. So that's where I see opportunities. That's where I see possibilities to tackle that challenge.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today and provide some insights into what you guys are seeing in the industry.